Hello everyone, I'm Wheel Trouble, and today is going to be the first in one of my product review videos. These are going to be motorcycle products that I get, either new products or old products that I've had a chance to test for quite a while. Today is going to be a review of the Z1R Strike Ops SV. This is available anywhere where they've got Parts Unlimited catalogs available, so most motorcycle stores should have this at their disposal, if not already in stock. The Strike Ops SV, the first thing I'm going to do is kind of run down the items that the manufacturer highlights. The first being the two-shell design. I actually had to ask what this meant. What this means is that they actually have two adult-sized shell designs that they go through. So small, extra small, and medium all fall into one shell, and then large on up fall into another shell. What this means is that your helmet should be a more snug fit. Especially for us smaller riders like myself, where you wear like a medium helmet. Usually what would end up happening is you get this rather large shell, and then they would pad the daylights out of it. And then over time, as that padding breaks into you, that helmet would start feeling loose towards the end of its 5-year lifespan. With this, especially in my case, since I wear that medium, and the medium is the cutoff for the one size, this helmet should last me quite a while and feel snug throughout the entire lifespan of the helmet. Also, one of the other things they highlight is the UV-resistant clear coat. Also, a UV-resistant drop-down visor, which is nice. The polycarbonate face shield, which you kind of expect from a full-face helmet, so I don't know why they really highlighted that, other than the fact that they did try to make it as scratch-resistant as possible. They also say it's UV-resistant. Again, this is more the nature of the polycarbonate, so it's kind of expected at this point, so I don't know why they chose to highlight that issue. Another thing they highlight is what they're calling a high volume intake and exhaust for the helmet. I'll be pointing those out a little bit later with the helmet actually in front of me, so I point to the item. They also talk about the chin vent. This is another standard feature in many motorcycle helmets that are full face, whether it be street bike or dirt bike helmets. So again, this is a standard feature. Not sure I would have chosen to highlight that in particular. Another highlight, and this should be, by now, more of a hygiene issue that all helmet manufacturers have addressed, but it's still an add-on feature, is the removable lining. Yes, I know, here we are, 21st century, and we're still talking about needing to look for removable liners. This one's got one. And then also, this helmet is DOT as well as ECE, which is absolutely wonderful. If you're going to do any kind of riding, you need to make sure your head's protected. Those are the two things you really need to look for. Alright, the first thing I want to do is discuss all the things that I like about this little BB here. The first, for an entry-level helmet, it's nearly silent. It's really quiet, and a lot of that has to do with the way that the ear pads sit and this little chin strap here. Another thing that I really like about this helmet is the sun visor. It's a wonderful touch. It's incredibly well thought out. It's easy to use, and if you've been watching my videos this year, you can actually see in a few videos, especially the ones early this year, when I first got this helmet, where I actually did have to toggle it mid-ride. And you can. There's no stopping, switching out the visor. This is all on the fly, nothing to worry about. You don't have to worry about trying to lug around extra equipment. It's great. Another thing I love is this leaves plenty of room for corrective glasses. As you can see right now, I am wearing them. In most of my videos, I do wear contacts, but it's nice to know that I have that luxury of, if I need to keep my contacts out for whatever reason, or I'm running to an optometrist appointment where I really just don't want to deal with pulling my contacts in and out and in and out, that I have this luxury and I can still use every feature that this helmet offers. The airflow is really nice, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that these vents here goes very well a very short distance. And this chin strap also helps keep that air going straight in. It's wonderful during even the 100-degree days. This helmet stays a fairly comfortable temperature despite it being black. The modern design that we see on it is very similar to what we're seeing in the MotoGP craze right now, the little tail fin. I don't know what that's really about, but I'm guessing it has something to do with airflow, as there's exhaust port here as well as underneath. The break-in period for this helmet was really quick. I was really surprised. At first, obviously, when you put on a helmet, it's supposed to feel miserable. It clamps on your jaw, gives you a headache, the whole 9 yards. This helmet felt great after only 300 miles. One ride for me, and this helmet was great. Already broken in, and I can put it on now, no headaches during the long term. It's perfect. And it's still tight. That's the best part. Even after the break-in period, after the couple thousand miles I've already put through this helmet, I can turn my head at 80 miles an hour, and I don't get that annoying little helmet turn where anyone who's ridden knows that when you turn your head wearing a helmet at high speeds, you get the wind trying to drag you. I don't have that. This helmet is perfect for that, and a lot of that I think goes back to that two-shell design. The sizing was dead on while we're talking about the two-shell design. This seems kind of funny to have to bring up, but finding helmets in my area is really surprisingly hard. There's a lot of people that ride open face since this area. Cruisers tend to be more popular, touring bikes. If you're wearing a helmet at all, most of them are running open face. And we have a lot of squids. It's a college town. And so, that's just par for the course. So, having never tried on a Z1R helmet, yes, this is my first Z1R, all I could do is measure my head and hope for the best before ordering it. None of the stores, even though all of them carry Parts Unlimited, all of them could order them. Well, at that point, I can just order it online. So this is kind of a note to all of you stores. You really do need to carry a fairly wide array of product. If you don't, you're going to get beat, period. The only reason I'm going to pay a store is if you guys have it in stock, I can find out if it's comfortable, and the convenience fee doesn't interfere with the savings I would get even after shipping for a website. You've got to compete. Going back to the helmet. So anyway, since none of the stores carried it, and I kind of need to rephrase that. We have 5 stores in my area. 4, I was able to confirm, didn't have the helmet in stock. Didn't have any Z1R in stock, as a matter of fact. The 5th store, I am actually not allowed back into because they don't like it when I shop. Because I like to try things on. And that seems weird to me. They would have this issue. And I'm looking at you, Yamaha. You've got a very wonderful, wonderful representative in my little town. And if you'd like to reach out to me to figure out who that Nimrod is, I'm happy to tell you, just privately. Anyway, last but not least, the thing that I really love about this, if you're like me, you ride with a communicator unit, I don't ride with people very much, but I do like being able to just wire in my phone so that I can still take care of work. I was able to Velcro in the speakers with no problems, really. And same thing with the rest of the system. It took a little bit of finagling to get it where I wanted it, but it wasn't too bad. It is still set up for a communicator, and while that aspect is a little bit watered down from the helmet I just left, it's still fully functional, and that's something I really do appreciate. I'd like to take a moment and talk about the things about this helmet that I'm not so crazy about. The first one is weird because it's also one of the special features about this helmet, and so it's really weird to have to include this in the negative category, and it's the sun visor. Yes, you buy this helmet, and not the generic version of it, for the sun visor. So why is this a con? Well, if you ride in an upright riding style, so if you're on a dual sport touring bike kind of thing, the sun visor just doesn't quite go down far enough. It's level almost with the field of vision, just a little bit under. And as such, you actually have that ridge in your field of view, and it's just kind of annoying. And since it's far enough from your face to allow corrective lenses, you actually even see the nose cut out. I wish they could have addressed this a little bit more, but I also realize that they are limited by how much helmet space they actually have for that visor to come down from. So if they could find a way to lengthen it, I'd be happy. Another addition to that is that the sun visor is a little bit on the difficult side to clean because of where it's located, and it's not removable. That's just the nature of the beast, and including it in the cons feels cheap. And so there's that. The biggest gripe that I'm going to have with this helmet over the long term is the sun visor. This sucker fogs like you would not believe. 75 degrees outside, coming out of a 75-degree building. If I've got the visor down, it's fogging. There's no reason, guys, that 70 degrees. Why? I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's got this blocking the air, and so you just crack the visor in the city, call it good. Now, having said all this, when you're in motion, yeah, there's no fog. 35 degrees outside, I didn't have any fogging issues whatsoever. You have to be in motion. That's just the way they've done the airflow. Also, there is an entire manual. You guys can't really see it in this, so I'm probably going to include it in the picture, maybe. And there's an entire manual that's sewn into the liner. Why? I'm not going to be able to see it, realistically. You included a paper manual, and my head is going to sweat. We're riding. It's hot outside. It's summer. That's most of the ride season. So all those inks are going to start running from my sweat, and from every time I clean that helmet out, which for me is about every 2 weeks, there was no point. Really no point. So next time, guys, just leave the manual out of the helmet. The only thing I want inside the helmet is the birthday. That way I know when the 5 years is up and I need to throw it away and get another one. And quality control in this helmet wasn't quite where I wanted it. It was close to perfect. Close. But when I went to install my communication system, I noticed that one of the felt pieces that's on the ear for you to just Velcro straight to wasn't actually sewn down to the helmet in one of the 3 spots. As such, I had to take out a glue and glue it back on. Word of warning, don't do that. If you've never messed with glues before, don't glue anything to your helmet. Don't use stickers, nothing. The reason that manufacturers are so picky about that, and you'll read the warning label saying don't use any adhesive with this, is because certain glues do deteriorate the helmet. The wrong kind of glue on foam will actually eat the foam completely away. That removes the entire purpose of your helmet. You've lost protection. There are specific glues for foam that you must use if you are going to do what I did. And even then, you want to use it very sparingly. So that was a caution that I took. Don't do it. And I really just wish I didn't have to. And it was a nitpick. It wasn't compromising the helmet for it to be the way it was, so it wasn't even a safety gripe. Another gripe that I have, and I will include a picture right there for this, is that the removable liner has these gigantic plastic tabs. That got in the way when I was trying to install my communication system, and it does make putting the liner back in just a pain in the neck. A lot of other helmet manufacturers just use snaps and call it good. This could have been the same issue. I don't know why they did that. Also, the chin guard uses just a regular foam and no felt. So again, with this communication system, they paid attention to the earpieces, but not the mouthpiece. So I had to put in the piece of Velcro and put it in that way rather than just having felt to just adhere it to. That's neither here nor there. This is a very minor nitpick, and the good thing is the communication system guys know this, and they actually include the other side of the felt so that you can custom fit and do what you need to with your helmet. Going back to the helmet manufacturers advising not to use the adhesives, it is what it is. So be cautious. If you are going to do any kind of adhesive work, any kind of sticker, decaling, anything like that, you do risk compromising your helmet. In this case, I felt it was worth it. Also, running the wires for my communicator wasn't quite as nice as I would have preferred. My last helmet, I was able to make the wires almost completely invisible and out of the way. With this helmet, and you can barely see it because it's black on black, but I have the wires running back into this little section here. I couldn't really get it into the space between the liner and the shell. So it runs back, and then I have it running into a little tuck in the pad. So I don't notice it when I ride, sure, but it is there and the wires are visible. That's a nitpick. It's a very minor one. Alright, we've weighed the pros, we've weighed the cons. Where do I sit with this helmet? I absolutely love this helmet, especially at the price point. Earlier I'd stated that it's an entry-level helmet, and I need to elaborate on what I mean by that first. By entry-level, I'm referring to everything from the $50 Walmart helmet you would never let your friend wear, all the way up to about a $150 helmet. Anything after that, you're getting the boutique helmets that there's honestly no real reason to spend that kind of money, especially when the protection being offered isn't terribly much more. ECE is a pretty strict standard and is honestly enough. This helmet retails at $120. Its little brother, the regular Strike Ops, retails at $100. For the $20, I'll take it just for the sun visor. So absolutely worth it there, and considering that most helmets are about $80 anyway, even comparing to that, you're only paying an additional $40 for the sun visor. Still worth it, honestly. And the real issue that I have other than that is the quality control that required me to use the glue. Had I not been using a communicator, I never would have fixed it, and the only reason it got fixed was my OCD. So that's me, not the helmet. but it does kind of go back to the manufacturing. So where do I sit with this helmet? I give it about a 4.5, 4, somewhere in there, out of 5. And only because of the visor not coming down quite far enough for my tastes, but since I'm in a tucked position most of the time on my street bike, I don't notice it. And for me even having to mess with the felt on the earpiece. Other than that, this helmet's pretty good. Recommend it to just about anybody. Have a great day. Wheel Trouble out.